and welcome to the Gotham Outsiders, our Batman book club. Holding bat-themed rituals after curfew, I'm your host, Bat-Obsessive Chris, and conversing with Killer Croc behind secret passageways, my co-host, TJ.
Hello, everyone. Killer Croc is so kind. He says hello.
I'm glad he says hello. We're good friends. Well, Alfred may have his guy he calls, but we have our own guy to call, the TikTok sketch creator, Panda Rude.
Hey.
Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. Your
I know
TikToks.
Chris is so excited.
I am. Your TikToks bring me joy in these dark times.
Well, that's the entire reason I make them. So,
And I've also ended up learning some of the wildest shit about comics from you.
that is primarily my job. That's my secret agenda. Is I go on TikTok and go, haha, you're going to laugh, but also you're going to scream at why people did this.
Yeah, you're going to find out that Superman used to hypnotize people to not know his identity, because that's something I learned from you.
Yes, because that's the worst thing he did in the Silver Age. Nothing more.
Nope, nothing else at all.
There's
So
nothing else.
How did you? I mean, your account's pretty big. You focus on the comics and specifically, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just comic books.
So how did you fall into that? Like, did you go into it knowing that was going to be your thing, or did it just get popular and then you're like, let me stick with this?
So what happened is when I started TikTok, I was like, I'm studying to be an artist. I should be an art page. That some people get big off of that. I'll do drawings every day. And then that got like no fucking views. So then one day I had just the shittiest assignment of all time and was sitting in my bed flipping through TikTok, and I saw a guy who did a skit about the first guys to be attacked by Batman.
Yes.
And it's just these three guys in the hospital, like, guys, you aren't going to believe me, but seriously, it was this 7'2" guy in a gimp suit and a cape, and he beat the shit out of me. And I think Bill's dead. Is Bill dead? Yep, Bill's dead. And I saw that and I'm like, that's funny, but they're forgetting that he has a 12-year-old in short shorts who follows him around. And I would hate to be that henchman who has to go back to the Joker and go, no, the little boy in panties, he broke my legs. There's nothing really I can do. So I made a skit about that, and then that fucking exploded. So then I
Yes.
just I just kind of played off of that and was like, I know a little bit about comics. And then apparently I knew more about comics than I thought I knew about comics. So
I'm pretty sure I've been watching you since you made that one, because I've seen the one you're talking about.
yeah, that's the origin of Bill the Henchman,
I love
which
it.
is great. It's also where I love when people ask me the where did the stealing bones bit come from? And I'm like, Bill, the poor soul.
You should definitely tell our listeners about Alfred Call the Guy, your most famous one right now, I would say.
Yeah, that's kind of become my catchphrase, which I never set out to have a catchphrase, so that's a little weird.
It's better than hell yeah. You mean like
Yeah.
Kite Man, right?
I wish I had a catchphrase. Jeez.
It's weird. It's weird seeing people send me videos with just some shit I said, and they're like, "I bought this shirt for $10." Like, so Alfred Call the Guy is a joke that I have about Batman consistently adopting children.
Yes.
For no better reason than it's a child who can do a thing. With Dick Grayson, it's understandable. He went through a similar situation as Batman. He's trying to reduce his emotional trauma. But then Jason Todd was just some fucking kid stealing his tires, and he's like, "Yeah, you want a place to sleep? I got rooms." And he just basically fucking kidnapped this kid who had a mom and a dad who were both alive, and he just kidnaps this child and adopts him. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty bad. And then Tim Drake just fucking wandered in the front door and was like, "Hey, are you Batman?" And he's just like, "You're Robin now. Congrats."
It was a prize.
It was a prize, yeah. And Stephanie Brown is just like, "Well, Tim's gone, so I guess you're Robin now." So I made this joke where anytime anybody did anything impressive, I would just have Alfred call the guy. I just had Batman call Alfred and tell Alfred to call the guy,
I love it.
which implies adopt the
Aw.
child. It started with Superboy because Superman is an asshole to Connor Kent,
Yes, he
uh,
is.
who is his kid, and I will die on this hill.
Yes.
Superman's a dick to his child, and the first Alfred call the guy is Batman telling him like, "Do you want him?" And he's just like, "It doesn't matter if I want him." And he's like, "Do you want him? I have a guy. If you won't
Poor
take him, I
Connor.
will."
Adopting children is like Pringles to Batman. You can't just have one.
You can't just have one.
Can you do it once for us? Your catchphrase?
Alfred call the guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go for it.
Fuck.
I'm
TJ
putting
is-
you on the spot.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
TJ does this.
Shit. Alfred, I got two people that know an excessive amount about me. We either need to call the guy or call Jim. There's two options here.
I love it. So it's either adoption or Arkham for us, I see.
Yeah. That's all of the what was he gonna do with Jason? He's just- Look, fucker, you stole my tires. There's two options here, and one of them is put on these short shorts.
It's like community service in Gotham.
Yeah. Nobody better fuck up or Batman will take away your pants and make you fight criminals.
He can have my pants. He can have them.
Someone's read Batman Damned, I see.
That one panel. Yeah, I've read that panel.
You've
The
read that
singular
one
panel.
panel. Well, are the two of you ready to go head to head in our game?
Oh
Let's
gosh.
do this.
All right. So our first question is, what's the deal with Orion and Scott Free? We see them a little bit in this. So what's their deal?
What language are you speaking?
All right, I can answer this. So basically, there's these two planets. There's Apocalypse and there's, I think New Genesis is its name, which is not
Yes.
a name for a planet, but
No.
whatever. There's Apocalypse and there's New Genesis, and for some reason they fucking hate each other. Because New Genesis is apparently pure good, and Apocalypse is ruled by literally DC's Satan.
Mhm.
So they're like, let's see, we will form a peace treaty. The kings of these two societies, because both of these mystery fucking planets have god kings, they're
Yes.
like, yes, the best way that we can handle this is if we trade sons. So then each of us has collateral on the other. So now we have no reason to attack each other. But what New Genesis wasn't thinking about was the fact that Darkseid's a worse dad than Superman.
Yep.
So he took the New Genesis child, traded over his own, and went, fuck that baby, and immediately attacked again. So Scott Free is the child of New Genesis that Darkseid now has, and he's like, hey, you're from that planet of people I hate. Great, I'm going to torture you your entire childhood, and threw him in basically a torture pit. Orion is the son of Darkseid, that New Genesis now has, and they're just like, hey, we're not assholes. We're going to treat you like a person for the rest of your life. So Scott Free, by the way, doesn't have a name. He chose Scott Free
Which
because
I love.
he thought it was a funny joke because he learned how to break out of any torture trap that his shithole of an adoptive dad put him in. So he could escape scot-free. Haha, get it? It's a pun. So
It is my favorite pun.
it's the best.
Now,
So-
TJ, do you know who Scott Free is, superhero wise?
I don't. I recognize the word Orion.
I was
now.
trying so hard to help you out. I was like, you can get one part of this right. You can do it.
No.
his name is Mr. Miracle.
Oh, okay.
I knew you
Yeah.
had read that too. I was like literally.
I don't know.
pitching
I
for
haven't
you.
read it yet.
Oh, you haven't read Mr.
Read
Miracle?
No,
It's-
I have it on my bedside table.
It's
so good.
I
If I
know.
Had I realized you hadn't read it, I would not have done this question.
Oh no, it's okay.
I've
Sorry.
made like 6 skits with Darkseid is, and it comes
Yes.
from that
Yes.
that book, because that's unironically the scariest thing in any comic I've ever read is
Oh,
just
yes.
it cutting in randomly and reminding you that you're not in control of this book. Dark Side is.
Yes. Oh, it's so scary. I'm with you.
Something tells me Panda would have got that question even if I had read Mr. Moon.
Fair.
I was
fair.
pummeled. I'm on the ground. I'm bloody. I'm shaking.
Well, don't worry. You have a chance to redeem yourself. Because
right.
I have a question from your favorite game on the show, TJ. Person most likely to.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
I failed so bad at this last time.
Oh no.
I was expecting this to be the one that was hard for you, not the last one. So I'm so sorry.
Oh no.
It's okay.
The person most likely to is simply what the name implies. I'm going to give you something. You have to tell me the person in DC Comics who is the most likely to do that thing.
Okay,
Gotcha.
so it can be anyone.
Anyone.
Okay.
So in this comic, we give a whole lot of control to the hands of Shazam, who I refuse to call Captain Marvel. And if you couldn't have him, and possibly you wouldn't choose him anyway, who in the DCU do you think would be the most likely to be trustworthy enough to be judge and jury?
Martian Manhunter.
Ooh, and why?
He can read the minds of everybody on the planet and judge not only what their thought process was while they were doing the action, but also the morality of that action from the perspective of every other human being on the planet.
Ooh, fascinating.
He's
TJ?
Superman with the ability to read your mind.
Which sometimes Superman has had in the past, but we don't talk
about the Silver Age.
DJ, who would you pick?
I mean, I'm not super educated on any characters outside of the Bat family.
So who in the Bat family is trustworthy?
None of them.
Trick
Have
question.
You read a Batman book?
I know.
So, I mean, before reading this book, I would have said Wonder Woman.
Oh, I know, right? Well, turns out that's not true.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll go with Diana, but not the Kingdom Come Diana.
So, which one then?
I don't know. One of those 52 other Earth Dianas.
The Justice League Diana, maybe.
Yeah. The cartoon Justice League Diana, or potentially.
Sure.
Okay. Well, okay.
We'll go with her.
You're both wrong. The answer was Alfred. I'm just kidding.
Oh, that was actually a good answer.
Nah, man, that dude has a shotgun and no shits left to give.
He will use it.
He will just kill everybody. He'll just lay waste.
You so much as touched one of the 57 Robins? Well, shame that.
Trigger, Alfred.
Okay, I'll give you both the point. They were both.
Oh, good. A pity point. Thank you.
But you have a chance to redeem yourself with this next one. I said last time too. So I know you both actually quite like the X-Men.
Yeah.
So we're gonna play another game of personality match. If you had to match members of the Bat family to who would be their counterparts in the X-Men.
Now, are we talking traditional X-Men, or can it be...
Go wild.
Okay.
Stephanie Brown is Jubilee.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, okay. We said just Bat family, right?
No, you can use our extended Bat family rules, which include things like Harley Quinn and such.
Okay.
Batwoman is Rogue.
Oh, I like that too.
Why are you so good at this? That was a compliment.
Comics occupy 50% of my brain.
I
want to say Batman is Wolverine, but Wolverine's got a better moral code.
They do have that loner thing that's totally a lie going on for both of them.
Yeah.
I always work alone, they say, while being on 52 separate teams.
I only work
alone. Emma Frost and Poison Ivy.
Oh, I like that.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
Oh, good. All right. I feel a little bit better. Who else?
I'm trying to think. Nightcrawler is Tim Drake.
Oh,
I have one.
I like that. Okay.
Cassandra Cain and X-23 Laura Kinney.
That is a good pool. Yes.
That's a good one.
We've mentioned that before somewhere.
I think we have. We've compared them. Yeah.
I don't know. Jason Todd is X-Men Wolverine in the X-Men version of Cyclops.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean the
That-
show.
Yeah, the show where
I
Cyclops just
love the
doesn't give a shit
show.
anymore.
That is
Uh,
the best. That is the best Cyclops. I love
Season
it.
2, give it to us, Disney Plus. Please.
There's only one good Cyclops, and it's that Cyclops. The rest of
Yeah.
them are kind of shit.
And that Emma Frost is perfection.
She is.
Yes.
I will defend the baby Cyclops in space story though. I do like that comic.
I could be wrong on this one because I don't know the Bat family character as well as I would like to.
Okay.
In more than one way. Dick Grayson, is he in any way similar to Iceman? Bobby Drake? I feel like they're
Oh.
both funny and like carefree.
I can see that.
I
A
can see
great
it.
butt.
That is a justification.
Does
Okay.
Iceman have the best butt in the X-Men? That's the question.
He's always naked. He
Um,
has to.
Yeah, he
You're
has
right.
to.
He's got to keep it tight.
He's the only one who consistently never wears clothes. So
That's really fair. Just him and Mystique out there.
Yeah.
Depending on the version of Mystique,
depending
I guess.
on the version, I always love the fact that the first X-Men version of Iceman was just boots and gloves, and that was it.
Oh yeah.
Implying that when he changed back into his human form, he had to do it in private, which is hilarious to think of.
Amazing. He just goes behind a screen.
Yeah.
Oh, Mystique would be Catwoman, right?
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Maybe.
yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
All right, I'm gonna end it there.
Okay. I think you tied. Unfortunately, Panda won the first question, meaning that Panda wins.
Yay! Panda, that was impressive. I've seen some people destroy me in my day, but that was pretty impressive.
So how would we like to jump into Kingdom Come?
I'll give the best description that I will give for it is I love Injustice, but this is if Injustice was done better.
Yes.
Yes.
This is if Injustice stuck to the characters, because Superman would never go over the edge of I'm a murderous dictator now. So I think this is the version of Injustice that still goes with Superman can be totalitarian,
Yeah.
That's
But-
fair.
but sticks to his moral code and sticks to why he would do it.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
whole time I was reading it, because I've actually read Injustice, one of the
Yeah.
few books I've read, and I enjoyed it. But I was like, this is like Injustice, but if Bruce was kind of the one to be a little bit more dark.
Yeah. And honestly, okay, so I always, as soon as I started reading Injustice, when I went back and read this again, I realized the fact that I think Injustice just ripped shit from this book multiple
know.
times.
It
I can
does
see
seem like it.
There's
Yeah.
Batman calls Superman's new league the regime at the
Yeah.
beginning of this book. And I
Mm.
immediately went, wait a minute. Hold on. You can't do that.
Wait a sec. I've seen this before.
Also,
is
Wonder
this-
Woman edging on Superman to be even more evil the farther that he goes.
Right?
Yeah, for real.
So
So-
is this like your favorite? Is this like your all-time favorite? Is that why you picked it?
Oh yeah, no, this has been and always will be my all-time favorite graphic novel comic book of all time.
All right. Can you tell us more about why?
Well, before I was able to read any of the subtext in it, so when I was like 8 and really shouldn't have been reading this book,
That's quite a dark read for an 8-year-old.
very dark read, but I picked it up and went, these pictures are pretty, and Alex Ross is still
So
officially
pretty.
my favorite comic artist of all time.
They're almost photorealistic. It's fascinating.
Yeah, he draws and paints characters in such a way that you can feel that they're there and you can
Yeah.
feel their presence. The way that he draws an old broken Batman
Yes.
just it cements it for me.
Yes.
Plus the fact that this is one thing that I always get pissed off with when artists do it. When they don't do it, he draws Wonder Woman not only tall but big.
Yes.
Wonder Woman should look like she's able to break you in half.
She sure does.
And in this
Please
book,
break us in half.
yeah, like in this, it looks like if she grabbed your face and squeezed, your head would just pop.
Yeah, she is
And-
powerful in this.
Yeah, And the way that he always draws Wonder Woman like that, there's a picture that he drew from an earlier book that he had called Justice, where he used forced perspective to make Wonder Woman look like she's like 10 feet tall.
Oh, I love it.
Because she's supposed to be this towering, she's supposed to have the same presence as Superman or Batman. And a lot of artists just draw her like, oh, she's a Victoria's Secret model, but she can
Right.
punch real good. And I'm like, no, she's supposed to be like a scary,
Right.
she's an Amazon, literally. That's
You should be afraid to be in the same room as her.
exactly.
And her armor was in this one.
Yeah.
Is this
Yes.
the origin of it? Is this where it came from?
No.
Yes.
Is it really?
Yeah, this is the first time that armor showed up. This is the first time that a lot of things showed
Yeah.
up.
I totally thought it was from earlier. It just had that feeling like it existed before, but I guess that's good writing.
Yeah, this is also the first appearance of Red Robin.
Yes, and it's not
Ooh.
Tim. Did you realize it was not Tim, TJ?
No,
Yeah, I
it's-
did. They mention it.
Okay, I
It's
was
not
just
only-
tricky.
That means that every one of the male Robins save Damian has been Red Robin at one point.
And no suing has happened from the restaurant. I don't understand.
No, it's astounding.
It
I don't
is.
understand
I mean, Bruce Wayne would be in court all the time.
all of the time.
And I have to ask, did you both watch Crisis on Infinite Earths on CW?
I am not caught up on the CW shows, so I have not seen The Crisis.
I'm going to be completely honest. I stopped watching the CW a very long time
I
ago.
can't believe I'm the only one that has seen it.
Did it pull
But-
from
okay.
this lot? Is that what you're saying?
Did what?
Did it pull from this comic? Is what you're saying? Because we haven't
They-
seen it. so you have to
Brandon
tell
Routh
us.
plays Kingdom Come Superman in
Right.
Crisis on Infinite.
Wait,
then-
really?
Yes, and Kevin Conroy
version of
plays
him.
a version of Bruce that has the exoskeleton.
Oh, rad. Okay.
Yeah, they kind of they took the feeling of the character and the costumes of these characters, and they put them
Right.
in Crisis on Infinite Earths. But
Fascinating.
so here's the thing, I really don't want them to ever make a movie of Kingdom Come, live action or animated.
Yeah.
And them edging towards it in Crisis got me really worried before it came out, because
It
I
does feel like a one that would be almost impossible to adapt, I feel like.
yeah, it's a very it's stooped in comics history. The whole
Yeah.
every page has a reference in it somewhere,
Oh, yeah.
and there's so much you need to know what is being to really absorb like what it's trying to say. You need to understand like what time it came out, what are they
Yeah.
critiquing, what is going on, because this isn't just a book of like the new shit's bad, I don't like it, it should go away. It's a critique of 90s it's like Watchmen. It's a
Yeah.
Watchmen was a critique
Yes.
of the 80s comics from the perspective of an
Mhm.
80s comics writer, and Kingdom Come is a critique of 90s comics from the perspective of a 90s comics writer, of going, things are getting darker, and if we continue making things darker, it can only end in bad things.
Yeah.
There's no happy ending at the end of this story if we keep
Mhm.
making these characters darker. Alex Ross made Magog, the bad guy,
Yes.
in the first half of the book. He designed him because this hurts my Deadpool loving heart, but he
No.
well, it doesn't hurt my Deadpool loving heart because I also hate the guy, but he really despises Rob Liefeld's art style,
Mm-hmm.
and he really doesn't like how he designs characters.
Right.
That's why Alex Ross has never drawn a Deadpool comic. He'll draw group photos where Deadpool's in it somewhere, but very rarely.
Yeah.
But Magog was designed to be like, what if Rob Liefeld took a bunch of coke and designed a character, and he was like Cable, but with more pouches and horns.
That is such a good description.
So, Panda, are you generally a fan of like lighter tone stories, like a fun Batman book, or are you into like Frank Miller more type stuff?
It's hard to kind of describe the type of things that I generally enjoy, because I'm a fan of when comics can recognize what they are.
Mm.
So I like darker stories. I like the stuff that gets into dark shit. My favorite comic drawing of all time is the scene in this book where the nuke gets dropped,
Mm.
and it's Superman in the whited out field of the
Yeah.
nuclear fallout.
That was very
I-
good.
was
love
good.
that shot. It is emotionally resonant, but I also love in like Spidey Pool where they're dancing around in their fucking boxers for no reason.
You
Like,
contain multitudes.
yeah, like I wouldn't say I prefer darker stories because honestly, I think when stories get too dark, it gets a little contrived.
Yeah.
Like the Dark Knight, I like darker stories with a purpose. Like
Yeah.
I like the Dark Knight Returns because it's Frank Miller before he was crazy, going forward. Well, in the precipice of becoming crazy, going forward and going, hey, Batman is not a joke, and you shouldn't treat him like one.
Yeah.
He's a dark demon of the night, but we can't treat him like a fascist because if we do, then bad shit happens and
Mhm.
it will only result in the character's demise. And I think that's a really emotionally resonant take on the character.
Now that's an interesting take from someone who literally makes all kinds of videos where Batman is a joke.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
I'm just teasing you.
No,
He's
that's
like, hey.
totally no, that's a completely that's a valid take on it. So I always have to have I never am able to explain this in comments,
Yeah.
but people always ask me like, why don't you make more Marvel skits? Like you could do this with Marvel characters, and I'm like, yeah, I could, but
Yeah.
DC takes itself way more seriously than Marvel does.
Yeah.
Marvel kind of knows what it is. It knows,
Yeah.
yeah, there's 37 heroes in New York in the Upper East Side. There's and all of them have supervillains that destroy cities on a weekly basis. It's funny. Like
Yeah.
they're able to poke fun at themselves. They know what they are. DC likes to take itself a lot more seriously. There's a lot more darker moments given as this man in spandex just had his world destroyed. And it's like, yeah, I can
Such
see
a good
the
point.
outline of your dick. You're crying in the rain. That's really, it's weird, man. Maybe chill. Like, that's so it's easier to make fun of Batman to go like,
I agree.
you're a lot more ridiculous than most characters are. Like I have nothing but love for the character, but it's super easy to go, yeah, but that's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
We've
Like,
made a whole
Get
podcast
over your
around
dead
it.
parents.
exactly.
If I have to see pearls hit the pavement one more time,
Yeah.
that's my supervillain origin story. I'm sick of it.
I'm sick of it. I swear, my rule with most things is if you can't laugh at it, you can't talk about it.
I think that makes
That's
sense
a
to
fair
me.
rule.
Yeah.
And that goes for all things in life. If you're not able to make a joke about it and find the humor in something, then you can't have a serious discussion about it,
Mhm.
which is why I'm like, yeah, I love dark stories, but I could poke fun at them. Like Injustice makes no fucking sense.
None at all.
The same thing happens in this story and Superman doesn't cross that line,
Yeah.
which is
Mhm.
why I much prefer Kingdom Come to Injustice. I love Injustice, but I much prefer Kingdom Come because it sticks to the character of
Right.
Superman. Like Joker, like literally, Injustice stole from Kingdom Come. Joker comes to Metropolis. Joker kills Lois Lane. Joker does something
Right.
that nobody else can do. Joker gets shot through the chest so hard that he has a hole in him.
Yeah.
And then they diverge where Superman goes, yes, this all happened, but we can't kill him. He is a human. You can't do that. You can't set that precedent.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then in Injustice, he turns around and does the other thing where he's just like, every villain needs to be treated like a murderer.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for real. Slight overreaction, maybe.
Just a touch.
And I feel like
Just a
it just
touch.
has to depend on like who the writer's interested in, because I feel like giving that role to Batman in Injustice, like that was a more Batman oriented protagonist book. Whereas like this is the first book I've read where Superman is the protagonist. So reading a book that was so similar to one that I loved, but it made me just think about Injustice in a new way and Superman in a new way. In that, like, someone mentioned, like he's super powerful, but his whole thing is that he doesn't compromise his morality because of
Yeah.
that power. He stays human. Or keeps his humanity, and I thought that was really powerful in
Me
this
too.
book. And like we keep talking about how we love Injustice, but that was definitely like a Batman lens book, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that makes sense. Or
It
I think
was-
this one does have interesting things to say about Batman, even though he's not in it nearly as
Mhm.
much.
Mhm. It definitely it pokes at Batman and analyzes the fact that he's not a pure good hero, that
Mhm.
he's able to do the darker shit. and he's not always right.
Yeah.
Because he was willing to almost start a war with Superman just to figure out if Captain Marvel was there.
This is reminding me of that time he punched Dick Grayson to find out if he was mind controlled, and you're just like, you could have done that another way.
There's like 1,000 ways you could have done this.
Okay,
Like,
world's greatest detective. It feels like you're just on a limb here.
Exactly. Like he sets up this whole thing with Lex Luthor, has Lex Luthor build 1,000 war machines just to be like, is that Billy Batson or is that Shazam?
Does not ever ask, by the way.
Doesn't ask a single fucking person. He waits until he's within punching distance and then clocks him and he's like, haha, he bled. Fuck these guys up. That's
Also, I was just like, look at him. It's Billy Batson. What are you talking about? You know this guy.
exactly. Have you ever seen Shazam change clothes?
Right. He's like, maybe he's not the best detective. I don't recognize him. He's not in red.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned the Watchmen earlier because when I watched the HBO miniseries, I really loved it. I couldn't get through the graphic novel, maybe another time, but this book reminded me of the HBO show.
Yeah.
So of course I guess it also
Yeah.
does the book as well.
Yeah, I think it is a very similar kind of tone, though I might actually like this better than the graphic novel. I think the show is amazing. I'm with you on that. But I might like Kingdom Come better than Watchmen, actually.
The book?
Yeah.
I would definitely agree with that, if only because with Watchmen it kind of revels in the dark aspects of it. The character who is supposed to be the critique of the dark and edgy characters is like the character you're seeing the story through. He's presented as the main character, even though he's the fascist, racist, white supremacist superhero who kills people on a whim.
Yeah.
And Watchmen, it kind of buries its lead with going, this isn't good. It presents itself as more of a, you need to read it a couple of times before you realize it's a critique. While with Kingdom Come, it's explicitly the point. There's multiple times where Superman himself goes, we're crossing a line we can't come back from. Are we sure we want to do this?
Right, absolutely. I'm in full agreement because I think you're right. It's that this book doesn't revel in darkness. There's light moments in it, which surprised me considering overall the tone of it. I wasn't expecting the superhero cafe at the end. Like I was loving it.
I feel like it reminded me so much of the Watchmen HBO show because that was so socially relevant, and I got that one specifically like the first half of this book. It's just certain events that are happening nowadays or have happened. Chris, you and I kind of talked about how the Capitol riot in DC, just, a scene in this book was so similar to that.
Americommando. What is his name? Americommando?
I think it's Americommando. And his siege of the Liberty Building. In the book, it's presented as this like, oh my God, what this guy's insane. But I mean, from a modern lens, you look at it and you're like, oh shit, that seems resonant.
Right. I actually stopped to look up the date of this again. I was like, maybe this is more recent than I thought it was, and it wasn't. But it feels very of the now. There were a couple different times where I was like, is this set in 2021? Like, did he know? Mark Waid, did you have a prophecy? Let's tell us what happened here.
And I think that means it's a good book, is that it's still relevant and it's going to continue to be relevant, I think.
I think it is also a commentary that this stuff has been around. It's just that it's become to the surface. So clearly Mark Waid was really insightful. So I think he saw stuff that already existed, basically.
And it's a very timeless way of looking at it because there's nothing in the story that dates it to when it was made. Not a single thing happens that goes, this is the technology we have now. The only technology that is ever shown is like sci-fi shit.
Yeah, like, Batman stuff usually.
Batman stuff, or we have a bomb that has a force field that will only explode within this square mile, and we're going to deploy 3 of them. Like,
that's a great point.
Yeah, there's no tech in there that will actually make you go, this was made in the 80s, wasn't it?
Nobody has a flip phone.
And even the art style, like when I think of the 80s, 90s, I think of a very specific art. And this is like an art style that transcends
And
generations.
it has a retro feel to it at the same time that is kind of interesting, I think. Like it feels classic whilst feeling modern at the same time.
It does this thing where it revels in what was. That's
Yes.
kind of the whole feeling of we need to adapt and overcome.
Yeah.
That's why I also prefer this story over Watchmen, is because it has a more hopeful message.
It really does.
At the end it goes, yeah, shit is it's really dark right now and it
Yeah.
kind of sucks. But if we incorporate it and we mix it in with what made the things good in the past, then we can move forward and make it better tomorrow. And I think
Absolutely.
that is definitely what the book does with both. It's reveling in what used to be, because the whole like superhero cafe thing is definitely drawing attention to comics are fucking silly.
Yes.
Right? Which that was my favorite part of the book, the Hooters of the superhero world.
I fucking love the fact that the Superman waiter has a mullet.
I love it too. It's such a throwback.
That confirms that Superman in this universe had a mullet, and everyone went, that's cool, and kept that.
I love it. We recently on our Discord server were talking about the different haircuts Superman has had, and somebody posted the picture of him with the mullet in the 80s. So
Oh, it's so good.
it's so good.
I have to say, this book also reminded me in both good ways and bad ways of Batman Arkham Asylum by Grant Morrison. In terms of like having themes that are really interesting and deep, but also the art style just being so important and like revolutionary.
Yeah. I think that makes sense. Go ahead.
I absolutely agree. Here's the thing that another reason I never want to see this book adapted ever.
Yeah.
Is I think that if you took the art out of the book, there would be a lot less of what makes the book great.
I think so too.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And it's the same thing with Arkham Asylum. Because with Arkham Asylum, when you get down to it, it's a pretty base level reading of Batman. He's fucking crazy. We all know he's fucking crazy. He's obsessive and insane.
Has anyone ever noticed?
The whole book. And the whole point with Arkham Asylum is look at all of the pretty and disgusting ways that we can show you that Batman's insane.
It's such a good point. I think that's why this one works a lot better for me. So we've read both sort of very literary Batman stories for this show, like Arkham Asylum, and we've read the more fun ones. This one works for me on a level that most of the literary ones tend to not work for me, because a lot of them read as pretentious.
Oh yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm saying Grant Morrison writes pretentious stories, but
I'm not saying
but
that.
I'm not also not saying that. Okay. But this one though, it didn't feel pretentious ever. Like it felt very true and very sincere.
It was definitely written from the perspective of a comics fan who knows what they are. Yes. They don't see themselves as holier than thou because they know so much more about these fictional characters in spandex than you. Which is kind of, sometimes I get that feeling from Grant Morrison. They put things in their stories that are very, I know so much about these characters. Do you?
Yeah, that's really true.
And with Alex Ross and Mark Waid, the way that they present the stories is very much more reveling in it with the fans. They point out all of the things that are weird, and it's stuff that everybody would see. Like Batman explicitly goes, "You're wearing a black symbol. Why?" He looks at Superman dead in the face and like, that is a fear tactic, and I know it's a fear tactic because it's what I do.
He's like, black is my color. I claimed it. You don't get to have it.
I love that black logo though.
I know,
oh, it's so iconic. It looks so good.
Is Connor Kent somewhere being sad because he's like, Dad, really? Like you forget I exist and you jack my suit? Okay.
Oh, poor Connor.
He might be somewhere in the superhero bar.
Maybe he is.
Part. He's just in the corner. He's the guy that Adam Smasher punches, where he's just like,
that's why Tim isn't around in this. He's with Connor, comforting him.
That's it. They're off together, not dealing with this bullshit, and I like it.
They're smarter than this.
Here's the craziest thing about this book is that this book it feels so timeless, and it feels like it could be written yesterday, but it was written before Tim Drake had a potential in the future. Nobody knew what he was going. He was still semi-new as a Robin.
Yeah.
And Jason was dead because he was fucking dead.
Yeah.
And then this book came out, and they were like, "Well, we know what to do with Tim now. Give him that Red Robin
We'll
costume."
put him in that suit.
Put him in that fucking suit. That suit was dope as shit.
It was dope
Right.
as shit. That's such a good point. But there is sort of a parallel to Damien in this story. Did you catch this, TJ?
Yeah, Bruce had another son that had
Yes.
a name I
So-
didn't recognize.
Suppose Ivan, right? It's Ivan.
There's Ibn
Ibn,
al-Fash, I think.
Mm.
So he is supposedly this alternate world's Damien. He just does not take a more English name like Damien does.
Before I was able to read the subtext that was Bruce's kid, I was like,
Right.
who the fuck?
Who is this beautiful blue-eyed child?
They just have this dude who is like, he's the heir to Ra's al Ghul's legacy. And I'm like, oh wow, that's cool. Why is he hotter than everyone in the book? That's very confusing.
What?
Right.
Okay, I missed this. I didn't realize he actually appeared.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I missed it. At the end, he gets mentioned by Bruce at the end of the
No,
book.
he's
and I
in
was
it.
Oh.
He's at the end.
Oh.
So
the
Batman
meeting,
starts
the first
hosp-
meeting.
Oh yeah, he's in the first meeting with the
Okay.
the mankind. What is it? The mankind.
Mankind Liberation Front.
Thank you. I was gonna
okay,
say
okay.
Preservation Society, and I was like, that's not right.
I do remember that.
Right.
I didn't make that connection after
Oh,
reading.
okay. He's in that, and he's at the hospital that Bruce sets up at the end as well, in a like
Right,
nurse's
okay.
uniform.
Oh, okay.
You
Wow.
were. I can't believe you of all people were not clocking this beautiful
No,
man.
I remember it because I specifically remembering the hot person from that meeting.
Yeah, that was
There's a very confusingly hot person in the
I
random
know.
bad guy meeting where it's like, wait, hold
astounding.
on.
Like everybody looks very evil, and then it's just hot man.
Well, since we are on territory of explaining things to me, can we also explain to me the Spectre and the normal man main character? And because I was very confused with the ending for them.
Okay, so
Okay.
the Spectre is one of my favorite characters. I love
Yes,
the
I love the Spectre too. Go for it.
So, Spectre in most books he's the right hand of God, literally, and he's the personification of God's vengeance.
Yeah.
So his job is to roam the mortal plane and punish the sinners that deserve punishing more than anyone else. And usually he does it in ironic ways because he's an asshole like that. One of the first books I read was like, oh, this guy's a rapist. And when he was growing up, his mother always told him to drink his milk or his bones would disappear. So the way he killed him is he made all of his bones disappear.
Like a totally
instantly.
normal person would.
Yep, just gone. And he just turned into a pile of flesh on the floor. So that's the Spectre's usual job. In this story, since it's far in the future and there's so much vengeance to do, he's worn down and he
Yeah.
needs a human host. And the Sandman, who was that old man at the beginning who was
Yes.
coughing like crazy, was originally supposed to be the Spectre's host because he can see into dream. He can see into the world of dream and the other
Right.
the rest of the world. But then he fucking died because the Spectre was slow. He took a wrong turn at Albuquerque or something. And Norman McKay was the Sandman's friend, and he inherited his powers from him for some fucking reason.
Yep. Touch, I think. Like he touched him
yeah.
at one point. I don't know.
Touched him and he got his powers for some reason. But his whole thing is that he's a priest who, in the darkness of the current age, with how shitty things are, has
Yeah.
lost his faith in God, and he only sees that the apocalypse is coming.
Yeah.
So then when the literal right hand of God comes down, he's like, hey, I need a mortal soul, and you need some fucking Christmas storying, so get up. We're going to go and have a Christmas Carol adventure where I zoom you all across the timeline.
I really
and-
did read like Christmas Carol. He's like the Spectre
Yeah.
cannot see us.
It was like
Yeah.
Days of Christmas Past.
Days of
Yeah.
Christmas past.
So his whole deal is that he showed Norman McKay all of the context for what was happening. So basically he was like, this is why all of this is going down. Here's what's going to happen. And then he showed him, all right, now that you know all of the context, you know who's done what, you know why they've done these things. Now you have to judge and you have to decide, should I punish these people?
Yeah.
and he doesn't make a decision, and that's when Shazam makes a decision for him, and that's where at the end where the Spectre is like, well, my job's done, peace, and Norman flips on him, is because he's he's like, hey, well, most of them are dead. I don't really have anything I need to do anymore. Peace out, bitch, and
For real.
and tries to dip. But Norman ties him to the mortal plane, and he makes him see that there's more than just vengeance. There's more that can be done.
Yeah.
Bad things will happen, but there's ways to bring them back to the light. Especially with he wanted to dip out because Superman's like, I'm gonna go fucking drop the UN building on the UN.
Right.
Bye. And Spectre's like, well, that's cool. That sounds like vengeance. And Norman's like, that's not fucking cool. Excuse me? What?
Like, we're not doing that today. No, thank you.
Yeah. So he was able to show the Spectre and bring him back to humanity and
Right.
be like, see, you used to be a person.
Oh.
And then they go and get coffee at the end. It's so
So
cute.
at the end, the Spectre turned into a human?
Well, he
was always a human. He just reverted back to his human form because he
Yeah.
had been having to punish the guilty for so long that he had just been the Spectre for
Yeah.
so long
So
at that point.
was I supposed to know who he was under the hood? Because when he took his hood off, I had the impression that it was supposed to be like oh my god, it was him all along. And
I
it was
wondered
like-
about this too because I felt like
Yeah.
it was obvious it was the Spectre all the time, but then it did feel like it was supposed to be a reveal, and I don't know what to make of that.
It was his human side because he was
I see.
he was just the angel the whole
Yeah.
story, and it was revealing that he was still a human. The Spectre was not just the spirit of
Oh.
vengeance.
Okay,
was
because it read a
this
little
guy.
like he took his mask off, and I was like, he's exactly who I thought he was.
Right.
Yeah.
Then he was in the crowd at the end, and I was
Yes.
like, it went over my head. I was like,
Right.
what
They
happened?
they set it up with a single page. It's when Norman is talking to Deadman,
Yes.
and he was like, he used to be a human, you know. He
Yes,
used
Mhm.
to
I
be
love that
connected
bit.
to everybody, but he's had to do so much punishing these days that there's very little left of him.
So is
And-
this Silver Age Lord Deadman? Is that who this is?
No,
This
that
character-
is that's Deadman. You're thinking of Lord Deathman.
Oh,
Those are-
okay. Oh, that's not confusing at all.
Oh, so
Oh,
this
yeah, no.
skeleton dude is Deadman? That's his name?
Yes.
I definitely thought
Oh.
this was Lord Deathman from like
No.
Bat manga.
So, have you seen the animated DC movies?
Yes.
Justice League Dark. Have you seen that?
Oh no, I haven't seen that one. Okay.
Okay. Deadman's in that one. Deadman is basically he was in Injustice as well. He was in the Injustice comics
Oh,
as
I think
well.
I'm just
Okay.
blanking on it. Okay.
Yeah. He's like
he
an
looks exactly like Lord
He
Deathman.
does.
So I was like,
he
just
doesn't
assume-
usually look like he does in this book. He's
That's
usually
fair.
just a gray, like zombie looking dude
yeah.
in,
Okay.
in that red
yes.
suit.
That's what
Yeah.
confused me because he really does look like Lord Deathman, and I was like, "Excuse
Yeah.
me, what a weird pull."
That
Wow,
scene was one of my
Batmanga?
favorites.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a good scene. I love the random people that can see the ghost or the spectral plane, like Flash,
Mhm.
being like, "What the hell? There's an
Yeah.
old man here."
So
I-
did you guys read the bit in the back where they explain each of the characters?
No,
they-
I
Oh.
didn't.
So that Flash isn't any particular Flash.
Oh,
That's
interesting.
that's every Flash. They all merged into the Speed Force and became a single being. That's
wow.
why he can see through dimensions.
Oh,
Is because he
fascinating.
doesn't technically exist on this plane. He's just phasing throughout reality at the speed of light.
So can he not stop? Because that was what I was assuming in it. That he
No.
wasn't. Yeah,
Since
fascinating.
he's a being of pure speed.
Yeah.
And okay, so this always confused me. That big gold motherfucker
Yes.
that is in the background of a bunch of the Justice League shots. You see Red Robin
Yes.
talking to him at one point, and you can see his like statue in the nuke scene.
Yes.
That's Cyborg.
What?
He had his consciousness completely transferred to a living liquid metal. So he basically became a one of the metal men.
You know,
But-
as you do.
Yeah. So that was Cyborg. That was his whole journey. was
Fascinating.
he had
There were
become
'cause there were
fully human.
definitely characters that I was like Googling to try to figure out who they were because I was like, who is this person? So
Yeah.
the girl that's hitting on Damien, or not Damien, is supposed to be Dick's daughter. Is that who that was?
The girl who was hitting on. I don't remember.
Oh, okay. I
the
had a
scene-
real moment where I was just like, wait, I mean, I guess you're not technically related, but like
So the scene if you're talking about the hospital scene at the end, the
I'm
person
talking
sitting
about
next
before
to
that, but yes, it's the same woman.
yeah, the person sitting next to Dick's bed is his daughter with Starfire.
Okay, so there are multiple scenes where in the background she's just like laughing and touching not Damien on the elbow, and I was like,
Oh,
you too. I mean, again,
Aw.
I know it's not
Mhm.
technically related, but like
yeah.
that's awfully
A little.
close.
Family tree is gonna have a knot in there somewhere. That's
I mean, maybe I was not supposed to read that into it, but I was just like, that's weird.
that's a little strange. Yeah. So like, there's a bunch of characters in this that
There is, yes.
God, I wish that they would explain a lot of them more because there's so many cool ones. So
Yeah.
like this is the story I use as my definitive "do not fuck with Captain Atom" story
Oh my gosh, yes. He
because
killed all the land and all the cows.
he fucking nuked Kansas. Kansas is gone.
Oh my
Like,
God.
he's just fucking disappeared. But in that scene, there's characters that you need to like look and notice. That
Yes.
giant motherfucker in the back of that shot,
Mhm.
where Magog is going against Parasite with Captain Atom and everybody. That big
Yes.
bastard that's like 5 colors.
Yes.
That's all the Metal Men. They merged into
Oh.
one person.
They Voltroned?
Yeah, they Voltroned.
I love it.
I need you to do an audiobook version of this book.
Just
That big
explain.
motherfucker then says,
That would honestly clear so many things up because I
Yeah.
definitely was like going through and I'm like, okay, do I know who this is? There
Yeah.
there are characters that are new characters, right? Or is everybody in
Yes.
this somebody? Okay.
There are new characters, and they're like the children of characters that exist.
Right.
So
Those were the ones I was like, I don't think you people exist, but I'm not sure.
No. So there's like the son of Wildcat is in the background, and
Yes.
he's the guy who's all like, he looks like Wildcat but a furry. And then there's
Yes. I
And-
loved that one.
and then there's like Changeling, who's the dude who looks like if Beast Boy was run over by a truck. He's the green gremlin looking motherfucker who's in the back of like 3 scenes.
I wanted to know a lot more about Nipple Ring guy because they just kept showing him. The guy with the
666. Yeah. He's just confused. I don't know why he's in the book.
I don't either,
so
but he's
much.
in it a lot.
He's in the book just a staggering amount. I'm like, you get no explanation, and for some reason they focus on you a lot.
I bet they like. Do you know how often in a superhero comic do you get to draw a nipple ring? It just doesn't
That's very
happen.
fair. There's Deathwing and this character, and
Yeah.
that's it.
That's all you got.
okay, who in the Bat family should get a nipple piercing?
Ooh, Jason Todd.
Nightwing
No,
already
don't-
has one.
Yeah.
All right, I accept
That's not a joke. That's the Deathwing from the 90s. Actually,
Oh gosh.
I forgot about that. But Jason Todd would do it, is what I'm saying.
Jason Todd would
Okay.
absolutely do it. He probably has a belly button piercing now that I think about it.
100%. Oh yes. Oh yes. Yes. Yes.
I
You see,
didn't know I
whenever-
needed this.
So I made a video a while back where I'm like, I want to play Jason Todd in a live action series. And a bunch of people in the comments were just like, well, you'd have to shave your mohawk. And I'm like, fuck you. Jason Todd would have a mohawk.
He would totally
can-
have a mohawk. He's
I
had
can-
so many hair, you know?
Yeah. I can
Sometimes it's been
absolutely-
red.
Oh my god. So, all right, I need to talk about pre-New 52 Jason because it's like a trigger for me that the second that anybody mentions the fact he has red hair, I'm like, everything before the New 52, post Under the Red Hood,
Yep.
pre-New 52 is a horror show. We ignore that any of that happens because all of it's bad.
Our
It's-
very first game of trivia, I asked TJ what hair color Jason Todd had, and it like broke his brain. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, motherfucker's a redhead. He
That was
looks
my
like
introduction
Alfred.
to the larger Batman universe.
That really
It's so bad, and I love it so much. I
Yes.
want to see someone in live action cosplay that terrible fucking costume that he had.
Oh, the pill head where he looks like a Tylenol.
The pill head and the go-go boots with the the bright red guns.
Where he was like somehow worse Magneto.
Yeah, it's
Uh.
so bad. They're like, hey, what if we gave the guy who uses only guns a cape? Wouldn't that be funny?
Again, thank you, Grant Morrison.
Yeah. When we look at you, Grant Morrison, we know who did this.
Let's give him a Robin with a fucked up face. Wouldn't that be cool?
What if everyone just looks awful? There we go. Go for it.
That just sounds great. Let's
Is
make the relationship between Scarlet and Red Hood just oddly sexual for no
Ugh,
reason.
yes. And for some reason, they're Instagram influencers pre-Instagram.
I hate it so much.
We're the only people that talk about Scarlet this much, and we need to stop it.
We do, because that was our first ever episode of the show, was
Oh,
talking
God.
about that comic, and so now Scarlet is just like a
Yeah, she came back recently. We did like how many obscure
No!
Batman characters? No, I'm talking about on our show.
just on
not-
our show.
not
Okay.
Ash.
Oh God.
I got you excited.
You got me worried.
They need
Okay.
to never like we need to put her into the Phantom Zone. Like, let's never bring her back.
She's gone. All right.
Scarlet's one of
Gone
those
like all the
characters-
villains in Arkham in this one. Anyway.
Oh God. Also, they mention it in one fucking line where they're like, everyone who survived Arkham, we turned into superheroes and gave weapons.
I
And I'm like-
screamed out of my mind when they were like, and we nuked Arkham. And I was like, that's why Batman has all the time in the world. He's like,
He's just okay. Hold. So there's two things that I love about the
Yes.
Batman in this.
yes.
First of all, the first time that they introduce him, did you guys pick up the fact that the gang that he is chasing in the very, very beginning is Big Al?
No, what?
Nope.
If you go back and look at that gang, in the very beginning, that group of kids that are being chased by the giant bat
Oh
machines.
my gosh.
You can look in the back, and there's the dude with the beanie that goes over his eyes
No.
in the back, and one of
Those
them is a
poor
big fat
kids.
kid with
I'm
a
looking
red-
at it right now.
You were totally right.
and it is the Big Al group. First of
That is so sad.
I
That
had
that
that
first
repeatedly.
that first introduction to Batman, I was like, well, Batman didn't take long to become a fascist. That sounds right.
That sounds about right.
Sounds
Right.
about right. He was always just one slight push away.
Yeah.
Really, when he partnered with Lex, I was like, I'm disappointed, but an old
Disappointed, but
rich
I'm not
white man,
surprised.
banding with another rich old white man.
Yeah.
It's
And then-
incredible.
It's the funniest
unheard
part
of.
is when Lex Luthor is like upset that Batman betrayed him. He's like, I'm supposed to be the betrayer. What?
Right.
That is
How
my
dare.
job, okay?
How could you do this to me? He's so used to fighting with Superman, he forgot that superheroes could be fucked up too.
Okay, so I love this might just be my fucking headcanon of it, but there is an implication that Batman got Joker gassed, if only because
Oh.
the only time he's ever not smiling is when the nuke drops.
That's so
Every other
interesting.
time-
Ooh.
He's always smiling, which is something Batman does not fucking do.
What
That
does it
is-
say about me that my notes literally were like, wow, he's really happy to be a fascist. Like, he's having fun.
We're looking for joy anywhere we can these days, Chris.
Indeed.
Just like, hey, I mean, he's found what makes him happy, I guess.
And so when I read that, I'm like, oh,
Joker
shit, did he
gas
get
makes sense.
gassed?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I like that.
Especially because Bane and Two-Face. Also, why Two-Face? Why was
I
it
know.
Two-Face that
I
crashed the
assume,
fucking
okay,
mansion?
this was my assumption about this. There were two things I thought about this. So basically, they are the ones who are presumably alive after Arkham is bombed. So I'm assuming
Mhm.
that's just because they weren't in it. Because Two-Face is always out and Bane is usually on an island. So I'm assuming that's why, for one
Very
thing.
fair.
The other thing was I assume they're the only two supervillains left who didn't already know he was Bruce Wayne. Like,
Also fair. That also makes very much sense.
they,
The
everyone,
Riddler can't figure it out.
yeah, everyone else was like, yeah, no, duh. Like,
Okay. Speaking of the fucking Riddler,
yes.
first of all, it's implied that Riddler and Catwoman are fucking, and I am not okay with that.
No. Okay,
Second of
this
all-
comic has two of my no TPs in it, and that's one of them. Didn't know it, but now I do.
It's so bad. Why? Who the fuck shipped that?
Mhm.
No. Second of all, the fact that he is just at this supervillain meeting and he's like, wait, you're doing villain things is very. You're the fucking Riddler. You're
Yeah.
wearing question mark glasses as you fucking say this.
But I just love the idea that he's not evil like that. He's like light evil, and he's like, whoa, wait, I'm in the big league now. I did not realize I didn't sign up for this. Like, I just do fun Riddler like jokes. Like it's a joke. It's okay, guys.
I would fucking love to see the conversation between Catwoman and Lex Luthor of being like, he's stuck at home and he's annoying the shit out of me. He keeps saying these horrible fucking puns and he keeps hiding my things around the house and putting riddles to where they are. You need to give him something to do. Can you put him in your fucking genocide somewhere?
And Lex Luthor's like, please do not make me do this.
Don't make me bring in the Riddler.
Nobody
Nobody
wants
wants the
this.
Riddler. Come on.
Come on,
I
Selena.
have
Come
Vandal
on.
fucking Savage in the corner. I got Batman's hot kid. I don't need the fucking Riddler, all right?
I appreciated that Selena looked very much like a person of color in this.
Yes, like she's
Yes.
supposed to be. Like she is
Yes.
supposed to be, and we will die on this hill.
I wanted to see like her and Burrs interact a little bit at the end at his hospital.
Yeah.
She was there in the background, and I was like, oh, like give me a little bit of them, please.
I don't know. I think it might just be that like Mark Waid and Alex Ross just don't ship that because
I
she's
think
just a
that's it.
villain in their eyes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, out of curiosity, do they ship super bats? Because man,
That one scene where he goes to ask for help near the end was
Mm-hmm.
excellent.
I was laughing. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go into this one, and I'm not gonna do the thing where I overread the queerness between them. I'm not gonna do it. And then I was 5 pages in, and I was like, I can't help it.
But
No,
Wonder
it-
Woman.
Okay, when he says I shared a passionless kiss with her, and the next scene he goes to see Bruce.
That is the definition of a rebound, and the fact that they only talk like bitter exes, and
I
that's
know.
it.
There's the priest literally goes, do they always bicker like that? And I was like, just say like a married couple. You want to say
Yeah.
like a married couple.
You know what you mean. We all know what you mean. Just say it.
I love their interactions in the totally like destroyed Batcave. Those crack me up so much because Batman might not be the world's greatest detective. I contest this claim, but he is the world's pettiest detective. And
Oh fuck yeah.
the like savagery he is throwing at Superman in every scene.
I don't have that dark side. Tell that to your tailor. Black's a new color on me.
And I was like, really?
He
Bruce.
just showed up 5 seconds ago. Also, that scene, I love the implication that Oliver Queen, Ted Kord, and Dinah Lance are just standing in the corner waiting for mom and dad to stop fighting.
I know.
Because then Superman flies away, and the second he flies away, they come out and they're just like, hey, bud,
Right.
what the fuck?
I love it too. And Ollie is like, well, I'm sterile now.
That's great. That's such an Oliver Queen response.
It really was. Can we talk about Dinah's hair? I know there's a lot more important things to talk about in this comic, but we need to talk about that amazing lesbian haircut they gave her.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the fact that they barely point towards the
know.
fact that her and Oliver are even a thing.
Mark Waid, did you make this queer intentionally? Tell us. Let us know. At us.
Let us
does-
know.
Chris, does this conversation tie into your other no TP?
You already
What's the
know,
other
don't
one?
you?
What's the other one? I want to know.
Superman and Wonder Woman should never. No,
Oh, no.
please
Yeah,
kill
no.
me. I was like, please make it stop. At the very
Yeah.
end, when they have a baby together, I was like losing my mind. And then they like somehow form a throuple with Batman, and I was back on board.
Ugh. They really do.
They absolutely do. That's not what a godparent is. They're not.
Yeah,
they're not
like
the third.
co-parenting.
Yeah, they're not. A godparent isn't literally standing over the shoulder, also parenting the kid. That's not their job.
They were
They
like,
are
we'll
the
figure out
next
what
in line.
they'll
That's,
figure out what days the kid stays with you. And I was like, what?
that is not a godparent. That's
What
not.
are you doing?
Every weekend except holidays.
Right? But it's clearly not just the kid. It's Superman and the kid go to stay with Batman every
Oh, okay.
weekend. I'm telling
Oh,
you.
yeah.
To give Diana a break.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it was a throuple. I was like, how am I supposed to not read it this
You're
way?
not
I'm
wrong.
confused.
Yeah. So here's what. All right. This book, I always hate to say it, but this book has what my version of Wonder Woman is.
Okay.
If only because I know that a lot of interpretations of her are a lot more hopeful, a lot more
Mhm.
of the hopeful ambassador. Like the movie,
Right.
the movie version of her is very, very much more cheerful and upbeat,
Right.
and very much more focused on love and hope. And my personal interpretation of Wonder Woman, which I've said multiple times that I think everybody's canon is valid and
Yeah.
different from each other's.
Yeah.
Especially, I think when I think of Wonder Woman, she's a Greek warrior raised to be a
Yeah.
warrior
Yeah.
and given ambassador. Like when you think about the Greeks, yes, they're known for for trade and talking and having this large connective group, but also they're warriors, and I think in my mind this Wonder Woman makes more sense to me of being the philosopher who is very, very willing to pull out a sword the second
Just
shit doesn't
immediately.
go her way. Like,
Yeah, I tend to like the hopeful one a lot better myself, but this one, it's not like it didn't make sense though. And when Batman at one
Mhm.
point is like, "You were raised by zealots on an island isolated. Of course you're crazy." I was like,
Right. This
points
felt
were
like
made.
the most realistic version of her.
Yeah.
But, not
yeah,
my personal favorite. I'm also into like the idealistic type.
which is very fair. And a lot of the way that I look at these that I look at Wonder Woman, I really like the idealistic version of her because it shows the best of what she can be, and it shows
Right.
it's a very good example. It's kind of like me saying I like Batman when he's a fucking psychopath, is because I like being able to point out the fact that you shouldn't aspire to be Batman. That's not
Right.
some you shouldn't want to be Batman. He's
Right. He's not okay.
he's not in a good headspace. He's not thinking straight. He's in a
Yeah.
bad way. And that's the same thing with Wonder Woman. She's raised to be a warrior ambassador. And the idealistic version of her is that she is a pure good person looking for the good of humanity. But the realistic angle of it is going, well, she was trained with a sword before she was trained with teaching, like learning how to be the connective bridge between the world
Right.
and the past. So
Right.
I enjoy this version of Wonder Woman, but I also think that this version of Wonder Woman is they're cranked up to 11, just a
Right.
touch.
She's had a few bad days in a row. And
She
Yeah.
they are
also really likes a
important.
good daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What? Yeah. Wow. Superman in this one. Wow.
yeah.
They go see him on the farm and he's just like shirtless overall.
A beefcake.
They're
don't
just
know.
like, yeah, we're gonna go full out on this one.
Why not just lean in? I love that he's like a silver fox in this one. It
Yeah.
kills me. It's so
Like,
funny.
I'm not into big and buff. I'm not into silver foxes. But would I let this Superman? I would.
Finish it, TJ. What would you want?
And right there is gonna be that bat sound.
Yeah.
But I let him pow me. Yeah. Yeah. I think I might.
We're gonna let this Superman steal as many bones as he wants.
As many as he
trying to
wants.
get at here.
Oh, that's amazing.
So
Yeah.
we all see where Diana's coming from.
Right.
Sweetie, don't kill people, but we're
Right.
on your side.
Don't go murder happy, but we get it. It's
Right. She is very ready to kill some people, but sometimes you have bad days. I'm just saying.
so she had a case of the Mondays, okay?
But I agree, Chris. I was not feeling that ship in this book. I
No.
really don't like the idea of it, but bringing up Injustice, that kind of warmed me up to the idea. And then actually seeing it in full force here, I was like, do not want.
You're right. I don't honestly have any good Wonder Woman ships, honestly, that I think makes sense with her. I haven't seen one that I really liked.
I have to shout out Christopher Morse because he loves Wonder Woman and Batman.
Yes.
And I see that one a little bit, especially in like the Justice League movie.
Yeah, in the cartoons, in the Justice League cartoons as well. They like
yeah.
that one in that cartoon. And I get that in that cartoon, but otherwise I'm like, no.
Fair.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I really don't wish Batman on anyone.
Also a fair judgment. That's kind of why I like the Catwoman Batman romance, if
Yeah.
only because in my mind, those two shouldn't be forced on anybody else. It's better to keep that
Right.
contained.
I do
Keep the crazy in one spot.
keep it all in one place so you can watch it. That's the whole plot of this one.
Exactly. So okay, so the one thing with the Superman and Wonder Woman
Yes.
relationship in this one is, in my mind, it doesn't come across as a relationship that's actually built on anything. It
Yeah.
seems like a relationship built on, you're the only other person who can understand where I'm coming from,
Yeah.
and that's our common ground. So it feels less like an actual romance and more of a, you understand me. No
Like,
one else can
yeah.
get this in my circle, even if it's a toxic back and forth bad shit.
A bromance with benefits kind of thing.
Yeah. They don't actually have any romantic feelings towards
No,
each other.
it
And
really
because they
doesn't seem
never,
like it.
no, they never, that's like when they say the kiss is, it's completely void of passion. It is simply a goodbye,
Yeah.
which this has very little to do with that actual point, but I just want to bring up something that I always love that this book does. It
Yes.
points out the fact that Superman's skin and Wonder Woman's skin would not move when coming in
Yeah.
contact
That
with
was
something
so
else.
gross. I was like, oh,
So the
they
fact that
were
they
like
point out
scraping
that
against each other.
yeah, it sounds like granite scraping against steel.
Can you imagine them fucking? Because they
Oh
canonically
god,
did.
No,
it would
everyone in
sound.
the vicinity is like, what is that?
They did that on the Fortress of Solitude so that no one else would have
Right.
to hear
Oh,
it.
thank you.
It's-
Thank you.
Oh God.
Here's the thing: is that I appreciate that because I always hate in movies and stuff where he just kind of casually holds someone's hand and they don't point out the fact that his skin has the tensile strength of a fucking planet. So like they would push their hand into his and there would be no movement. It would be like pressing against a warm table. Like if you push your hand up against a skin heated wall,
Ew.
that is about the consistency of what
Ugh.
holding Superman's hand would feel like. There would be no give.
I could have lived my whole life without hearing the word skin heated wall.
Yeah. One thing I think about is if you stretch your hand out and you feel the webbing in between your thumb and your forefinger,
Huh.
and you put your hand within your own hand, kind of the like you're holding someone else's hand. Imagine Superman's. That webbing doesn't move. So that is just sharp against the other person's hand.
Am I
And you're
doing that
telling-
right now?
I know I had to
Maybe.
try it too. I was like, oh yeah, that would
And not a
be
s-
so weird.
Yeah, no one would go like, "Hey, Clark, what the fuck is wrong with your skin? What's up with that, bro?" That's
It's super weird. So you're telling me at the end when he hugs Batman that Bruce is like, ugh.
he's already a shattered man. He's
You're
wearing
right.
he's wearing the first layers of a Darth Vader suit.
I
There's
know.
there's
It's
no way if he
true.
doesn't hug him, he's not just like lighter, fuck, like,
The brace.
the brace.
Is the assumption there that Bane broke in and broke his back again? Like, is
Oh,
that-
absolutely.
That's what I thought. He's like, we did this before, but like, it's gonna happen again.
Now I know where you're at. No,
Hey.
okay, hold on. It doesn't make any sense that Bane broke into his house. The whole point of Nightfall is that he figured out that Batman was Bruce Wayne, broke into his house, and found out all of his worst enemies and set them loose. He already knew Bruce Wayne was Batman. What the fuck was he doing at Wayne Manor?
Maybe Two-Face was like, bro, did you know that Bruce Wayne was Batman? He's like, yeah, I did, but I'll be your wingman if necessary.
Look,
I'll do it again.
You got no strength. Batman's gonna break you in fucking half. So I'm gonna show up and fix that for you. Just to be a bro.
I assume that Two-Face was the one that sunk the penny because he's the only one that gets to have a coin.
He's like, look, motherfucker, this one's mine.
Just knock it into the water.
He also took the Tyrannosaurus Rex just for fun.
He
Aw.
rode that out of the cave.
Leave Fido alone.
I know, we love Fido.
Well, what would you guys rate this book 1 out of 5 batarangs?
4.5 for me. There's some things that I'm just that are like the Wonder Woman Superman ship, but it's also will always be the 4.5 is my. I'm holding back because I want to say 5, but I also know that
Right.
objectively it's not.
I'm gonna go with you on 4.5. I was between that and 4 because there were some parts of it I didn't love, but it's so good and I could talk
Yeah.
about it forever. So yeah, that 4.5 sounds good.
I am gonna go with a lower rating than that.
Surprise, surprise.
I know.
Every
So,
week.
Yeah.
We have a joke that we have a rating scale like slide because TJ is always like at least a half point lower than my rating.
Oh,
Always.
Okay. Uh-huh.
But I will point us back to me saying it reminded me of Arkham Asylum in both good and bad ways.
Right.
Yeah,
But you
my
never said
reading-
what you meant.
Right, my reading experience was very similar in that like I appreciated the fantastic art and the themes. Did I find it fun to read? Not exactly, but I found it relevant and I'm glad I read it. And it's a classic and I see why. I don't think it's anywhere near as controversial as Arkham. That you know,
Well,
that's a
that would be
whole
hard.
right, exactly. So I'm not talking about that. But I was thinking 3 stars, but after discussing it, I would say 3.5, 3.5 batarangs.
All right. That's not
Yeah.
bad. That wasn't so as low as I thought you were gonna go.
Oh,
So.
good. Yeah. No, I enjoyed it. I had problems with the ending. I didn't love the ending. I wish it had. I don't know what I wanted, but it wasn't what we were given. And of course,
Which
the epilogue was kind of strange to me.
which part of the ending would it be? Like the epilogue, or would it be the actual like UN ending?
I felt like it just kind of ended to me. Like, I don't
Yeah, that's
know.
fair.
I feel
That
like
makes
I'm
sense.
also not a huge DC fan. I'm also just not educated as
Right.
well. So like I don't know how casual readers would do with this one. I don't
No,
know.
I think that was fair. As I was reading it, I was like, I wonder how TJ is doing because most of your knowledge is Bat
Right.
Family at this
I
point.
just really felt like I was missing something in the
Yeah.
last like third of the story.
I
But
think
again,
that's
I
fair.
appreciated it though. Like it was doing something that I could look at and say, wow, this is well done. I just don't know if I was the right target audience.
Yeah, I think
Is
that's
fair.
fair.
Yeah.
Right.
It feels very much stooped in the history of comics. So
Yeah.
Yes.
coming into it without the extensive history of of the author would
Right.
definitely also would pull back on the actual reading experience
Mhm.
of it.
It's one
100%.
I would revisit once I've like, because it's a goal of mine to not just learn more about the Batman verse, but like
Mm.
larger DC in general. So like
Right.
years from now, when I'm more educated, I would love to revisit it and see if I appreciate it a lot more.
In episode
Mm.
200, we'll come back and read Kingdom Come, see
Oh,
what you think
you'll
then.
think we'll be around?
I'm just forward projecting that, manifesting that.
I will full on admit to all of your points because that's all very, very true. I can also admit that my reading of it is very tinted by nostalgia because
Yeah.
it's
Right.
been my favorite book for so long.
Mhm.
And that is also because it's one of the first books that I actually like owned and read, and this is like
Aw.
my
Yeah.
big one, my big first graphic novel. So it always holds a special place in my heart. But I can absolutely admit, yeah, it kind of just stops. And
It's quick considering the pace of the rest of it. The ending is like,
Mhm.
bam, it's
Mhm.
over.
And
Yeah,
like throwing in that romance between Clark and Diana. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't satisfying.
I
So
can't tell
like
if it was
you
not
know,
foreshadowed or if I was purposefully missing the foreshadowing.
I really thought one of them was gonna die.
Oh, really?
I don't
Yeah.
know.
yeah,
Like I don't know. I don't
I
know
think that's
what
fair.
I
It felt like
wanted.
anyone could die in this. I definitely felt that.
Oh, and I
yeah.
thought the framing of the story was brilliant. Of the Spectre and this like
Yeah.
normal dude.
Mhm.
That was probably my favorite part. So the ending with me feeling like it went over my head
Yeah.
made me kind of frustrated because I wanted a really good payoff to their plot line.
Who did
Um,
you want it to be? If you had to pick the characters you knew, who would you have wanted
I
that
don't know
character?
if I needed it to be anyone. I was looking more for like
Hmm.
an emotional payoff, and I wish it would
Yeah.
have had a little bit more emphasis
I
on
think it
them.
would have if you had known the character. I feel like because it had an emotional impact
Right.
for me, and I'm guessing that Panda had one for you as well.
A bit. So here we go. Here's a potential ending
Okay.
that I'm trying to think of. What if the ending instead of and I'm talking about the epilogue. Everything all the way up to the epilogue happens the way it happens.
Okay.
Mhm.
What if the epilogue is it's Norman and he's sitting at the same in the same pews that he was sitting at when the Spectre showed up,
Right.
and he's sitting there and he's reading his Bible the same way he was at the beginning, but instead of tearing it out, he's reading it for tomorrow's sermon.
Right.
And in walks Clark Kent and sits next to him, and he's like, "I know
Aw.
Batman. I was able to find out who you were,
I love
and
that.
I've gone to your
Yeah.
sermons." And he talks to him, and they go over all of the same plot points they talk about in the epilogue, save like maybe the kid thing because that's not important.
Yeah.
Because the epilogue is more used to talk about what has become of everything, what has
Yeah.
become of the Gulag, what has become of Superman and the characters and what's going on. And it can be
Mhm.
Superman basically tearily going to this person that saved him from becoming Magog and
Right.
Yeah.
going and actually thanking him for what he did and
I
then
now
and
see
then
that
walking out.
That is a better ending. I think that would
Yeah.
have wrapped up the emotional payoff way better.
And I think you're making me realize one of my problems with the ending or lack of resolution in terms of like those two narratives were so separate, but the framing was brilliant. But I feel like I wanted that payoff of them colliding, which we
Yeah.
kind of got with that confrontation, but then we never really got the resolution of
Yeah.
them coexisting. So if we would have gotten that payoff, I think that would have really made the ending more solid for me.
Right. And the whole story is kind of Superman coming back to being a human being again.
Mm,
And really there's no, and he's referred to as a god multiple times
Right.
throughout the book. So literally having the person who has been called a god repeatedly going to church to talk to the Father to try and relate to him would really humanize him a lot more than going,
mhm.
well, I'm gonna go to this diner with my other god friends and
Yeah.
we're going to have a demigod baby that's going to be raised by the three mightiest people on the planet.
Right.
Like,
Which I did love. I got it.
yeah.
I still loved it.
Chris
It was
loves a
easy.
throuple.
I love a throuple. I wasn't expecting to get that in this. It's
No,
fine.
I agree.
I'm fine
like,
over here.
like Superman and this average Joe were like
Yeah, that would have been good.
the heart and soul of this book, and having that like I said, resolution of them just together with that just would have been so good. I want that.
Yeah. We didn't mention Superman getting the Clark Kent glasses, but that scene definitely made me
Yeah.
cry, which I wasn't expecting, but I immediately teared up when he
That
got
was
them. It was
good.
like, oh, smart.
Especially because he makes people refer to him as Cal through the whole book.
Yeah.
And Batman's petty ass is like, Clark,
Clark.
right to his face.
This book definitely made me appreciate Superman as a character a lot more.
Yay!
Because
TJ has famously insulted Superman on this show and made our fans not happy about
well,
it.
I had read two books that had major Superman content before this one, which
Yeah.
was Superman Smashes the Klan, which was amazing, and Injustice, which was I really, really, really liked, but had a very different view of Superman.
Mhm.
So reading this, I was like, oh, that was out of character for him, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Yes.
I
you
feel like
know.
this is a very in character Superman.
Yes.
It's decisions he would make. It's decisions the canon Superman would make.
Yeah.
And that's why it's such a good critique, is
Mhm.
because it points out, yeah, he could do this. And he admits to himself that this is wrong. I shouldn't
Yeah.
be able to do this, but I still do. Like,
Yeah.
so that this is the thing that shades my interpretation of any other Superman media. Because if I see him in anything else, I'm like, yeah, but is he Kingdom Come Superman? Is he the guy? Is he the guy that can realize last second, oh shit, I fucked up, and I need to go and get my husband's help for this shit.
Thank you. I knew you did that for me, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
He's
you
lost
all are,
without him.
You're slowly converting me to be a Superman.
Yes.
What's the word? I'm trying to think of like I accept him and I'm starting to enjoy him.
Simp. The word is simp.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
I have never been a big Superman fan because I was one of those fanboys that's like, he could end all crime in 10 seconds. And I've learned that I don't have a problem with Superman as a character. I have a problem with Superman stories because
Right.
9 times out of 10, the most interesting part about Superman is he can do that,
Right.
but should he?
Right.
And that's the
Mm.
question that his character stands to answer is if there is such injustice in the world, as there is such evil in the world, should he stop all things?
Right.
That's the whole point of Lex Luthor is pointing at him and going, he's directly stating the problem with Superman.
Right.
If we rely on this person, what if he doesn't show up one day?
Yeah.
Now we can't do anything for ourselves and we rely on this God that we hope stays on our side. But the
Yeah.
second we step out of line, he has the power to end all things. And I think that is the most interesting Superman story. It's
agree.
the story of a God with the soul of a man deciding if he should use his powers to be a God.
Yeah. I agree. I think that's why my favorite Superman is the one written by Peter Tomasi in Super Sons and in the Rebirth Superman,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a, older, mature Superman raising a kid and like contending with the fact that he has brought a kid into this world with all of the, maturity of a child and the power of a superhuman. And how do
Mm-hmm.
you raise a kid like that to not be entitled? And how do you raise a kid like that to be good and care for others?
Absolutely.
Alfred, call the guy.
No, that's the exact opposite of
No,
what you
that's not. Yeah, that's how you
uh,
end up with a fucked up
okay.
kid. Have you
Every
met?
Robin has died once. I
I
feel the only
tried.
reason they killed Tim in Rebirth is because they realized Tim hadn't died yet.
Well, at least they acknowledged he was a real Robin. Ooh, too soon. Okay.
Oof.
I too
Oof.
sooned myself. That hurt.
Ooh. Well, do you
I
guys
just-
have anything else specific about the book that we didn't touch on?
The graffiti says Lobo was here.
I want to point that out for how much that it is very obvious that Alex Ross and Mark Waid hate that new age of 90s characters like Lobo. Lobo is in this fucking
He
book
sure
so
is.
goddamn much. He is
It was so funny when the graffiti said that. I like cackled. It was amazing.
there's the graffiti. He's in the superhero bar where he's fat and out of shape.
Yeah, we love it. We love it.
He's on the side of the fucking. I love why is he on the side of planet Krypton?
No idea.
That
Nothing
doesn't make
sense.
what the fuck? Why are you here? That's
Also, Scott Free is running a cult. I just gotta say, we didn't talk about Scott Free at a ride at all after our trivia game, but he is
Oh,
running a
yeah.
cult.
totally is.
It would not be in context for me at all if I didn't comment on the cult in this book that he's running.
Chris loves a cult.
I love a cult. I wanted to see more of what he was doing. He was up there preaching to that crowd.
Yeah, he totally was. I also want to point out the fact that Scott Free is completely out of character in this book.
Yeah, I don't understand what's going on with him at all. I
When-
assume something happened.
I don't know, because when Superman shows up, he's just like, "Hey, you want to help me make a fucking gulag? Nothing bad's ever come from something called a gulag."
Oh, right.
And-
A gulag that looks like the Legion of Doom from Super Friends. Let's just say.
That we all know what it is. It's a giant skull. Everyone can see it's a giant fucking skull. And for some reason, Scott Free, the punny escape artist, is like, "Yeah, I'll help you build a fucking gulag."
You know what I love? A death trap. I've not spent my whole life avoiding those.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. Like it's just hilarious to me because that is the most out of character writing in the
Right.
entire thing, is just Scott Free all of a sudden being like, "Yeah, no, I'm cool with it." Why did they call
mean-
it the gulag? They couldn't think of a better name
I
than
feel
the
like
gulag.
they really needed their marketing team on that one. Like Superman, we cannot call it that.
We cannot call it that. Dick Grayson's in the corner, like, "Look, dude, we can't call it the fucking gulag." And he's like, "Okay, Red Robin, you want fucking fries with that, you dumbass? What the fuck?
You don't
The
get to
fuck
tell
are
me
you-
how to name things. And he's
You
like,
don't
at
get to
least
tell me names.
at least I'm not implying I'm a Nazi. Okay.
At least I'm not saying the quiet part loud, all right?"
I do love the part where he's whispering about Superman and somebody's like, he could hear us, right?
I
You
love he goes-
dumbass.
"You tell him." And he's like, "Are you fucking kidding? Absolutely not." And he's like, "He can hear you right now." Yeah, it's a good point.
He's like,
That's-
Roy, you go tell him. It's okay if you die.
What are you gonna do? Lose your arm for the 17th time?
Maybe you can shoot an arrow at him.
Maybe that'll fix it. It worked in Dark Knight Returns.
So we have a question that we ask all of our guests. And
Alright.
that is, if you could write, without DC editorial stopping you at all, any Batman story, what would you write?
I would write a story about the Robins' individual trauma and all of their trauma relating back to Batman in some way.
The way I would love that story.
I would want to write a story about how Batman has failed as a father and him coming to terms with that,
Ooh,
because I am sick and tired of him being shown as the perfect father figure for how, "Oh, I helped these kids get past their trauma." No,
like,
motherfucker.
did you?
That's
Because you
not
know
what
who
you
was
did.
fine before they met you? Tim Drake. Just saying.
Tim Drake. Tim Drake had a living family before he met you.
He was very healthy and fairly well adjusted before he met you.
Yeah, so I would want to write a story of the Robins either going to some form of all right. If I could write a Batman story, I'd write Heroes in Crisis, but forget about the whole fucking mystery of it and
Yeah.
actually write it about heroes going to therapy, because I think that's a very interesting
Love it.
story that was never fucking tapped. So that would probably be the story I would want to write, is them coming to terms with who Batman is and who they are as people because of him.
I have to tell you, this is really me telling of myself, but quite a few years ago, I wrote a fanfic in which Harley kidnaps all the Robins and forces them to have family therapy.
Aww.
That's very wholesome fan fiction.
After Panda's answer, I now need to go back and add one more comparison between Batman and the X-Men.
Oh, yes.
Bruce Wayne would be Professor X. He
Oh,
dresses up
he's not
children
that.
as
Okay, he's not that
superheroes.
bad. Like he's bad, but he's not Professor X bad.
Okay.
How many times has Batman fucked Barbara in the comics again?
Oh, never mind. You're right.
Professor X wanted to fuck Jean. That is canon.
Exactly.
Oh, come on. He can't be as bad.
They're
Surely.
both like young redheads. Come
Sure,
on.
there is a specific. You can find online a picture of every time Batman has backhanded each of his kids.
I was trying to come up with any defense, and everything I came up with, I was like, no, Batman has done that. No, he's done that too. Oh, shit, he is.
Yeah.
He has done that.
He probably has plans on his computer on how to kill each of his children if shit goes sideways.
Ooh,
Which was was
yeah.
it Court of Owls, where he literally says to Dick, he's like, of course I check the security camera to make sure you're not lying to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're right. I take it back. I guess he's as bad.
Yeah.
Yay.
You see, the only thing holding Professor X back from doing all of the heinous shit that he wants to do is the fact he can't get up and do it himself, and Batman can.
Batman
So,
builds an exoskeleton so he can.
yeah, Batman would get shot in the back and then build an exoskeleton on the floor so he could make himself walk again. One of my favorite scenes from any X-Men comic is that one time Wolverine just got pissed off at Professor X, so he just picked up his wheelchair, walked him to the stairs, and threw him down him. And was just like,
What a mood.
what are you going to do? I have an adamantium skeleton. You can't control my mind. So yoink! And just fucking tosses
Just
him off the fucking...
yeeted him down the steps.
yeeted him down the stairs. And that's the only thing holding Professor X back from being as bad as Batman.
Oh no. I had a moment. I took it back, but I had a moment where I was like, at least he didn't fake his death to fuck with people. And then I was like, wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like 12 times.
Yeah, he's done that a good number of times. Remember the whole battle for the cowl where he was not only alive, but there the whole
I
time?
forgot for a second how terrible he is. He tries, though. I like in this one that he acknowledges. He's like, I actually suck at this, but I love my kids.
Yeah. So that's another reason I like this, is that he points out, my history with being a parent is pretty shady, right?
You know that my son chose you over me, right?
My son legitimately said in this story, and I quote, I was all for the gulag. So that is...
He sure did.
Yeah, he said that
Dick is not
directly.
doing okay.
No. And in this, Jason's already dead. So
Right.
right now, he's got a fascist and a dead one. He's not great at this.
At least he has his one beautiful son.
Who was raised by assassins who
But
needs...
he's deprogramming him.
He's deprogramming. You should never have to say the sentence, I'm deprogramming my child. I'm working on it.
Everything will be okay once I've deprogrammed my son.
Exactly. That's
Like,
not...
which one you mean? Do you mean Dick right now? Because I think that might help with him too. Just throw it
Yeah,
out.
do you want to deprogram him because the only way that he can find happiness in life is in skin tight outfits that show his ass off because you didn't give him fucking pants and
That's the
standing in
only
front
thing
of
that makes me happy in life too.
Dick Grayson is the one character that is drawn just as sexually as women in comics, and I am fucking here for the fact that they unambiguously are like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he has the
Yep.
juiciest ass in all of DC Comics, and it's canon.
He
We love to see
canonly
it.
has the best ass. And everyone wants to see. You think he specifically talks to his tailor to make it be like, can you put a crease right down the center?
He's like, you know what's not showing enough? My best asset.
His ass has a bra in the suit just to make it look better.
Yes.
Well, Panda, this has been so much fun. You've been
Yes.
fantastic. Where
Thank
can
you.
our listeners find you on social media?
You can find me on every social media at the Panda Red because I am very, very creative like that. I come up with such original names.
It's good branding.
It's effective. Nobody else stole it, so I did. That's THE Panda Red with 2 Ds.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me on.
Of course.
Next time on Gotham Outsiders, we're going to be covering Black Glove by our favorite Grant Morrison. Yay! With art by J.H. Williams III.
And joining us to talk about it is longtime listener of the podcast and artist Jack Ingram.
And we'll be returning to Morrison for the first time in quite a while on our show. Will we have different opinions this time? I guess you'll have to tune in and find out. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Gotham Outsiders. You can find me, Chris, on Twitter at The Myth of Psyche, where I talk about feminism, queerness, and frequently Batman. And you can find my co-host, TJ,
at TroyFinn2 on Twitter, where I talk about all things book related and occasionally Batman related, although a little bit more frequently nowadays.
And you can find Gotham Outsiders on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at Gotham Outsiders, where we talk about Batman all the time. So join us next time, same bat time, same bat place.